I think a lot of us don't recognize how low quality the leisure that we enjoy is. I remember I used to be, part of my story is I was very, very into online video games, like addicted, like an actual problem level. I've written a book about this for young people called A Student's Guide to Gaming that kind of helps with different issues, thinking through them biblically about how we should approach video games as Christians. But that's sort of like part of my testimony is I realized I was wasting a lot of time on games, but part of the realization and one of the convictions God brought to me was that one of the reasons I gave for why I needed to play games so much time and hours every night was, well, it's just my time to rest. It's my time for leisure. It's my time to relax. And I came to the conclusion one day that it's not actually that restful. Like, especially online gaming, the way I played, like I was very competitive, is I would just, my blood would boil. Like I'd be playing game after game after game and I'd be getting frustrated, or there'd be the highs and the lows and all of that. And I would come away with it and then realize I'm not resting from this. Like one of the reasons I'm giving for saying that this is helpful to me is that it's leisurely and then I'm enjoying it, but I wasn't. It was low quality leisure, low fidelity. It didn't bring that much to my life. And when I started to realize that, it became very easy for me to finally make the decision of I'm just not going to mess with games anymore. And again, I've talked about this. You can look through the archives. I'm not anti-video game, but I think if it's a problem for you, you should obviously rethink your relationship with it. And that's what I end up doing in my own life. And I share that to say, I think that we would do well to question, if you're listening to this and you're kind of like bristling a little bit, you're like, well, my me time is like, I really need that and all that. I just question, is what you're doing actually that restful? Do you feel better afterwards? And that's just one aspect of it. But also, is it beneficial at all? Right? They're spending time with people, having somebody over for dinner. That's a lot more work. But in this funny, weird way, that very often is more restful, more enjoyable, more renewing than spending the night alone scrolling your phone or watching something on Netflix. And so there's this irony where we think, well, if I expend more energy on a certain type of leisure, then that's going to be, by definition, less restful, less leisurely. I think very often the opposite is the case. And I think people who are really into exercise get this too. People who do long distance running or biking or whatever, you're just like, that sounds exhausting. And they're like, yeah, isn't that restful? And you're like, what are you talking about? But that is, I think, how God designed us, is that often what we need for leisure, just from the rest standpoint, is a change in what we're doing, not just a change to inactivity. We actually have a lot more time than we think. There's this slide that came from a presentation I saw in an old TEDx talk. And his point was different than mine. He was saying, hey, you have all this time. And he was pointing out the average lifespan of an 18-year-old. And one of the things he pointed out was the black dots at the bottom, if you're watching this, that's all their free time. That's how many hours of free time the average lifespan remaining in an 18-year-old's life in America. It's a lot of time. And his point was that almost all of that free time is taken up with social media use. When you overlay on top of the free time that the average person has, and you overlay average social media use, you realize all of the time is being used up on social media. And that, when I saw that, was devastating. That was part of the reason I ended up getting off of social media too. Is I was like, I don't want to live that way. Like I want to do higher quality leisure. I don't want to just veg out all the time. And it's not coming from a standpoint of, oh, I feel guilty that I'm doing that. There's more of a positive motivation of a more fulfilling, a more God-honoring, a more others-centered, loving, grandiose, God-glorifying life is spent with higher quality leisure in all this extra time God gives me each week. How do I use that better on my family, with other people, in enjoying deeper and more satisfying aspects of life and doing that as unto the Lord? And I think if we can get that mentality right, it does change the way we approach leisure, where we're not just saying, oh, like I shouldn't rest so much, or oh, I need more rest, but instead, hey, I get to rest, I get to enjoy these things, and I can do it in a way that honors God, serves others, and is actually more beneficial for me if I approach it with a different attitude. Let's end with some practicals. How do you steward your leisure? Let me just give you a couple ideas. One is view leisure as part of your stewardship. Just as we talked about with the domains of stewardship, start to view leisure not as a right, not as something that's mine, but as part of what God's given me to steward. My rest, my recreation, that time also belongs to God. So I want to use that for him. Don't always outsource your entertainment, right? So thinking back on that quote from Nancy Pearcey, the easiest thing to do when it's leisure time is to outsource the leisure to the entertainment industry. It's easier to turn on a show. It's easier to swipe through TikTok. It's easier to do these things, which is why we do them. But they're also, by virtue of that ease, they're lower quality. They're not as enjoyable. They're not high. I mean, I do think you can scroll social media to the glory of God. Like, it is possible to do that. But I think there's better things you can do with your time, not by reallocating that time to work, but reallocating it to actually higher quality leisure activities. Do the hard work of creating better recreation. It is harder. Like I mentioned, having people over for dinner is harder. It's stressful, especially if you're more of an introvert. You kind of have to start practicing at these things and do the hard work, because what happens when you have these closer relationships, what happens when you have a feast and you have a bunch of people over, or you plan a big party and do that stuff, is you develop deeper bonds. And especially when you're doing that within a Christian community, right? Not all the stuff that brings a church together needs to be organized by the church staff. You can have a bunch of people over and say, hey, we're doing a big party. And you say, oh, I'm not that, I'm more of an, I know it's hard. That's why we do it less and less. That's why very many people, I was talking to somebody just recently, they said, it seems like our church doesn't have this is not at my church, but a friend who lives out of state was talking about their church. He said, we moved to this new church and it doesn't seem like they have a culture of people going over for dinner and vice versa. And I've noticed this too in my own life. Just generally in the past 10 years, people invite one another over for dinner less and less and less. And I think a lot of that is this decline of a culture of leisure that actually recognizes that leisure should involve other people, not just be this solo endeavor. So that is hard work, but it's worth it. The last one is bring an attitude of thanksgiving to God for all of life. Just as we were talking about at the beginning, your leisure, it can happen at work. And I don't mean when you're just slacking off or like kicking your legs up and taking a nap midday. I mean that you enjoy leisure throughout the day as you do your work unto the Lord, as you enjoy it, as you pause to reflect on the little things and give thanks to God. That's really those little moments, those special times. That really is where the enjoyment comes from, and finding joy in that toil, and finding joy in the rest from that toil, and finding joy in the leisure when we enjoy just free time with other people. That's the sweet stuff of life God's given us. And those aren't just indulgences that we just get to, a guilty pleasure. No, that is the stuff of life. That is the stuff we can worship God with by saying, thank you for this, Lord. Thank you for this. Even with your kids, I find this with my kids all the time. There's so many just precious moments with our little kids that I find are great opportunities for worship. It doesn't mean I whip out a hymnal. I just mean, like, I see my youngest. He's just starting to talk, and he's terrible at it, but he's learning. And he'll say a word, and I'll just pause, and just my heart is so full. I say, thank you for that, God. And recognize that's a gift from God. Your leisure, your enjoyment, these are gifts from God. And to steward it well is to receive those gifts, as blessings, and return thanks to God. And in doing that, you glorify Him. So I would be interested in your thoughts on this. What do you think? Is this changing? Is this change your perspective at all about how you think about leisure and about rest and recreation? Do you have pushback? Are there areas that you would say, hey, you missed this? I would love to hear all that. You can let me know in the comments, or you can always write to me at reagan@redeemingproductivity.com. And speaking of that, if you enjoy this podcast and you're not already on my newsletter, you should check that out. Just go to redeemingproductivity.com/newsletter. I send out twice a week an essay on one of the days, and then I send a roundup on Thursdays of just different links that are kind of annotated that give you some ideas of ways that can help you be more productive. It can be apps, it might be articles on just viewpoints from how you think about these things as a Christian, all kinds of stuff like that. People tell me they love it. I think it's really good because I put a lot of work into it. So I'd love for you to check it out too, redeemingproductivity.com/newsletter. But until next time, I pray that you would have a productive week and that you do it for the glory of God. All right, see ya.